Hello everyone, and welcome to this short video on internationalization strategies. You may see some connection to these strategies with the strategies of dealing with internal cultural diversity, and they do line up with them quite well. So that is something to bear in mind. But we are going to take a look at internationalization strategies because we need to understand when we look at country selection and entry modes exactly how organizations have or deal with the reality of operating in multiple countries and how that impacts the overall long-term strategic vision of the company. So we still need to have a suitable strategy regarding international operations and harmonizing and coordinating their international operations. In many cases, this doesn't have to be a conscious decision-making process, but rather the internationalization strategy can grow out of the actual type of internationalization process. So if we're pursuing a path of acquisitions rather than FDI growth, then that's going to naturally lead to a particular type of internationalization strategy. But generally speaking, we have a tension between efficiency, scale, and actual local responsiveness and agility. So there are three major strategic approaches that we can use. So there's a global strategy, multi-domestic strategy, and transnational strategy, and each of them do play a particular part on this scale. So when it comes to global strategy, this is very much trying to maximize the efficiency of operating on the global stage and being of the scale where you're operating in multiple countries. Multi-domestic strategy is very much on the other end of the scale, where you're trying to maximize local responsiveness and agility, and you have a transnational strategy which attempts to get the benefit of both wherever possible. So if we look at all three of these strategies term by term, we can start with the first, which is global strategy. So we've already said that we're really trying at the heart of a global strategy is to maximize our efficiency and the advantages that come with operating at global scale. So we are going to do so through strong centralization and integration. So we're looking to standardize our outputs, whether they're products or services, rather than relying on localization. So what this means is that instead of adapting, changing and tweaking all of our products and services for each individual local market or national market, we want to standardize them into single global products. The reason for this is that this is the key that actually unlocks operational scale and efficiency. So if we're producing, I'm very bad at examples, but let's say we're producing clothes on a global scale, and we have an idea for a particular range of clothes. Well, if you're going to localize them, you're going to adapt them and change them to suit the tastes and preferences for each individual local market. That means that you're unable to really unlock the economies of scale inherent in addressing a single global market. So if we standardize our range of clothes, we make them exactly the same for each local market. We don't make any adaptations or changes to suit local tastes and preferences. We'll actually be able to manufacture all of the clothes that are needed for the entire market at much lower per unit costs. It means that we're able to respond to changing market demands, where our products may be more successful than we thought in one market, by actually rerouting or rebalancing our global logistics and global operations. And we don't have to worry about making decisions about how to divide up our production capacity, because anything we output could be sold in any one of those individual national markets we operate in. So that's really the key thing to remember about a global strategy, is that you want to standardize instead of localize. If you have a large amount of localization, you're not going to be able to unlock global operational efficiency nearly to the same degree as if you are focused on standardization and having standard products and services sold across all locations. We have some knock-on requirements as well. So this does require strong centralization. Decision making and control are usually strongly centered in the home branch or the home office. So you're making single global decisions. And as a result of having standardized products, this really gives rise to having a strong global brand and being able to have unified, harmonized global marketing as well. As ever, there's always going to be some trade-offs and drawbacks. So here it really is that because we're centralizing decision making, our company agility and responsiveness is reduced, and because we're not tailoring to local markets, we can also be outflanked by competitors who are tailoring to local tastes and preferences. So if we move on to the second, which is the multi-domestic strategy, and this is very much on the opposite end of the scale to the to a global strategy. So here, instead of trying to really unlock the benefits of global scale and efficiency, instead here with a multi-domestic strategy, we're focusing on each individual local market, and we're tailoring as much as possible our products, our services, marketing operations, everything to that local market, to local tastes and preferences. So instead of centralization, for this to work, you need to devolve decision-making powers to local branches. So we want to decentralize and distribute decision-making power instead of keep it at the home office. This means that our economies of scale are going to suffer. We're not going to be able to reduce our per unit costs because we are effectively producing highly individualized and highly tailored products and services for each individual local national market. And it also means that our branding and marketing is also not going to be able to take advantage of global efficiencies. We're not going to be able to present the same branding and marketing across every branch because of the heavy localization. So there may be some elements of global branding that we can take advantage of, but nowhere near to the same degree as when pursuing a global strategy. But the major advantage is always going to be that we can really make sure that our products and services are very appealing and very tailored to each national local market. So you have an obvious benefit to the trade-offs there. The third strategy that we're looking at is the transnational strategy, and this can be understood as an attempt to try and actually balance both the advantages of the global strategy and the advantages of a multi-domestic strategy. It does come with its own risks, obviously. In trying to balance and achieve the benefits of both, you do run the risk of getting the benefits of neither and the disadvantages of both. So it does raise the implementation risk, but there is significant payoff if it can be implemented properly. So here, what the transnational strategy aims to do is to actually achieve the global efficiencies, particularly when it comes to branding and marketing, and having some advantages and having a core global operation. So there is some global efficiencies as well, but also having as much localization and tailoring around the edges of our core offering as possible, so we do actually manage to appeal to local sensibilities, but with a combination of tailoring and a strong core offering. So a good way to kind of visualize a transnational strategy would be McDonald's. So McDonald's does have a strong, well-marketed core global brand. However, their menu, so their actual product offerings, are a combination of a strong global operation as well as localized tailoring. So in every McDonald's branch in any place in the world, really, you will almost certainly be able to find core offerings like the Big Mac, core offerings like a quarter pounder, regardless of what it's called. Core offerings of things like some kind of chicken legend type premium chicken product, as well as a chicken sandwich type product. So there are very much elements of a global strategy at play here, but there is also strong localization around the edges of the menu. So you can find rice burgers in Japan. You can find localized nuggets in parts of Africa. You can find an aloo tikka burger in India. So you can see how there is localization happening, but the entire menu isn't localized. You do have a core global offering and then tailoring around the edges. And you do also have a strong, well-marketed global brand as well.